So actually this Kuan Yin Trans asked me these questions. Did you jog in the park, on that time, at that time, on that day, at that time, Then yeah, I did jog at the park. Then the Kuan Yin says, actually next to the park there's a water ghost. So this water ghost, right, just live right next to the drain. So there's a big drain right next to the park. So what happened is that according to Kuan Yin Trans, right, this water ghost, right, was once a child and died right in the flood. So it was drowned in the drain.
Is there anyone here? What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.
So at 12 years old, right, my uncle was murdered. At that time, right, I did not stay with my uncle. My uncle was living in his own house. So on the day of the murder, right, so I was 12 years old, so I was busy, studying for school. So halfway through, right, in the afternoon, right, I felt very drowsy. So I went to sleep. So in my sleep, right, suddenly I can feel like a gush of winds, right, lifted, my soul up. And then these winds, right, guide my soul, right, to my uncle's place. So I was actually floating, right, above, right, my uncle's house. So then I saw, right, my uncle lying, right, in a pool of blood in the living room. And I can see his neck, right, being slashed. And, lots of blood, right, coming out from the neck. It happened at around afternoon, about 2 p.m. something. Then after that, this wind, right, brought me back to my own house. And then my soul, right, went in back to my body. Then I wake up. So maybe I thought it's just a stress, just a silly dream, it's just a stress. Then on that same day, right, at 5 p.m. something, my mom received a news saying that my uncle died in his house. Don't know what happened. So I was a bit shocked. So that I followed my mom right to my uncle's house. My uncle actually, died in a pool of blood and slashed, across the throat. So it was a bit of horror to me, because I didn't know, why I could, see this, even before my mom brought me over, to his place. I didn't tell anyone about this, so I just keep it to myself. I just put it maybe, stress, lack of sleep, exam. So after that, there was a proper ritual, Buddhist funeral ritual conducted for my uncle. So a few weeks after that, right, it happened again in the afternoon. I slept. That wind, right, came back again, lifted my soul up, and then brought me over to my, uncle's house. So actually, I was floating on top of his house. So actually, I can see, right, my uncle's spirits, right, still wandering around in the house, trapped in the house. It cannot go out. So usually in the funeral, we will dress somebody up, with a tie, with a coat, in their funeral. But I don't see that because my uncle died, right, with just an underpants. So what happened is I can see him, right, not wearing anything except, his boxers or his underpants, right, floating around in the house. So it just, float around in the house. It cannot go out. It's just around the area that he died. So I don't know what happened. So then after that, this wind, right, came back again and then brought me back to my own body. So I was a bit shocked. So I told my mom about this. Then my mom, right, did another, rituals, Buddhist ritual for him. Okay? Then a few weeks after that, right, my uncle, who passed away, right, came to find me. So what happened was that it was in the afternoon, I feel drowsy, I need to sleep. So when I was sleeping, right, my soul out from my body, I can see my body sleeping. Then I could see that, why my room, right, there are a few luggages. This luggage is not my luggage. A few briefcases, luggages, all packed, at the side of my bed. I don't know who luggages is that. Then after that, when I look to my left side, right, I can see my uncle, right, the eyes, right, staring next to me. So it's like, an eye to eye. So I was so scared, so I woke up. So obviously woke up with cold sweats. So after that, right, I told my mom again about these dreams. And then my mom, right, conducted another ritual, asked my uncle, not to disturb me. If there's anything, find find other family members. Don't come and disturb me. Because I was still young, just 12 years old. So a few years after that ritual, right, my uncle didn't come back and find me. But until right, when I was about 14 or 15 years old, this time my uncle's spirits, right, came back and find me. This time he's dressed, in a uniform. I could see him, right? I could see he's working. And he's dressed in a uniform in a different world. So he looked at me, I looked at him, he gave me a good smile. Some sort like a reassurance smile that, don't worry, I'm okay here, I have a job. I can sense that he's in a good place and asked me not to worry about him. It was a pleasant dream, it's not a bad dream. So then after that I wake up. Then since then, I never, ever dream of my uncle anymore. But then later on, right, that time I was 15, right, my last dream with my uncle. So after that, right, on and off, right, I would have, right, those spirits, right. Because you see, my house, there's an altar, we pray to Kuan Yin. So these spirits, they cannot go inside my house. So happens at my room, there's a balcony. So on and off, right, when I sleep, right, there will be a spirit wandering around the balcony. Somehow I can't control, right, I can't control that, what you call astral projections. My soul will be out, I can't control it. If it happens, it will happen. So when I sleep, my soul will be out from my body. Then I can see somebody at the balcony. Then I'll look at them, they will look at me. So then they tell me that, I used to live, in that house, and I'm just here for a shelter. So don't bother me. So then after that, I feel a bit scared, of course, because I see them, they are like humans, but they're dressed in blacks. They don't have a very scary look. But they just tell me that they're just there for a shelter. So knowing that I have these dreams, so I start to memorize how to recite great compassion mantra. Because my mom prayed to Kuan Yin, that I'll just follow, pray to Kuan Yin. So every time, whenever that these spirits come, and try to communicate with me, right, I will just recite quick compassion mantra. Then after that, I will wake up, then nothing will happen. Not until I was 18 years old, right. That's one of my first case, being possessed, right, by these ghosts. So I actually didn't know I was being possessed. So what happened was this, So it was late in the afternoon, around 5 something. I went to the park and then I jogged. So it was quite quiet in the park, So I was running. Suddenly I can hear somebody calling me, from the back. So I look back. Actually, there's no one. But I feel a bit scared. I don't know why I feel a bit scared and shocked. There's no one, but I feel scared. Then after that, I keep running. Then I thought maybe it just, heat stroke. Maybe it was too hot, not enough water. So I just ignore it. So after that, I went back home. So when I went back home that time, right, a few days after that, I developed, right, feel unwell. I would vomit. I feel sick. And then I would sweat a lot. And then I will feel like, at night when I sleep, right, I have many, many, many dreams. I feel like it was somebody, right, who took over my body. And then I actually have to, walk through his life. It's someone else's life, it's not my life, in my dream. So maybe I thought I wasn't feeling well. And because I was running in the park, so I thought I was, got bitten by mosquitoes. So I thought maybe it's a dengue fever. So I went to see doctor first. Went to see a doctor a few times. Then they did a blood test. They couldn't find out what happened to me. They said, my blood test is normal. They couldn't diagnose what's happening to me. So what happens is I went back home. I also don't know what to do. My mom also don't know what to do. So I just, continue praying to Kuan Yin. So actually I was undergoing through this process, vomiting, sweating, feeling sick for a month. So because, doctors couldn't diagnose, blood tests are all normal. So my mom suspect something's not right, based on a few clues. So at night when I sleep, with my sister, because she's still looking after me, suddenly I would just wake up at night. And then I will look at my sisters, with my big eyes staring at her. Then she'll ask me, why are you looking at me? Then after that, I'll go back to sleep. Then the next day, my sister asked me, did you, wake up at night? Look at me? Then I say, no, I didn't wake up at night. I couldn't remember, I woke up at night and look at her. I couldn't remember that. Then the second thing is that I have this a very very weird, peculiar symptoms. I have to look down all the time. I cannot look up. I cannot look at human. I cannot look at everyone. If I look up, right, I will feel dizzy. I will vomit. I will faint. I cannot look up. I have to look down all the time. And sweat will just come, I'll just keep on sweating. But one thing weird is that, because in my house there's an altar. So there's a Guan Yin. The only time I can look up, right, is when I pray to Guan Yin, I look at her. And I don't feel sick. That's the only time, I don't feel sick. And then third thing is that there's a change in my personality lah. So usually I don't eat the char siu bao. I don't eat the barbecue pork bun. I don't eat. So there was one time, right, I told my mom saying that I want to eat, barbecue pork bun. I was craving for it. You buy for me, I want to eat. So my mom thought to myself, you don't eat, barbecue pork bun, and you don't eat. Why suddenly you have this craving, to eat barbecue pork bun? That I don't know, I just eat it anyway. Then after that I vomit everything out. So then my mind sense, there's a change in personality, and then this weird symptom, plus, my sister descriptions. So after that, my mom started, suspecting something is not right. So my mom went to see a Guan Yin trance, those like traditionals. You ask, the deity of Guan Yin to possess someone's body, and then to, read what happened. So actually, this Guan Yin trance asked me these questions. Did you jog in the park, on that time, at that time, on that day, at that time, Then yeah, I did jog at the park. Then the Guan Yin says, actually, next to the park, there's a water ghost. So this water ghost, right, just live right next to the drain. So there's a big drain right next to the park. So what happens is that according to Guan Yin trance, right, this water ghost, right, was once a child and died right in the flood. So it was drowned in the drain. So this water ghost, right, saw me jogging in the park. So this water ghost see that my heart, right, because I pray to Guan Yin, and we come from a compassionate, family. So this water ghost actually wants some compassionate offering from me. That's why this water ghost, right, come close to me and try to get offerings. And then this Guan Yin trance says that, so this is what the water ghost want. You want some pork belly, some offerings, some pao. So then my mom, right, jot down the list of the requirements that the water ghost wanted lah. So my mom, right, these things that this water ghost, right, want a fresh, fresh barbecue belly pork. Want the fresh one, not those frozen one. So my mom, right, went early in the market. That time was still, the sun is not up yet. Went up to the market and saw this butcher. Then this butcher, right, saw my mom. Then this butcher says that, I know what you want. So this is what you want. So surprisingly, this butcher, I just chopped, right, part of the, the barbecue pork belly and then give it to my mom. Then my mom just, pay and then take the pork belly. Didn't ask, so many questions. So after that, right, my mom, right, started doing the offering. So just a few minutes after the offering, right, then my symptoms all disappear. I stop sweating. I can look up. And I can feel like, myself back again. Yeah.
What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.